Hi, I'm Macy Bolyard. I go to USC and I'm on the beach volleyball team. I think the biggest thing for me, and I keep reminding myself, is never settle. Every walk of life, there's something like you could be reaching towards, and I think that's helped me really progress like as an athlete, but also as a person, just in any aspect of life, just thinking like, yes, I accomplished this, but now I can like try to level up and get to another level. One of the most important things that I focus on in my sport is just outside of practicing, just lifting and really putting emphasis on being strong. I think that's definitely my strong suit, is just my strength. And so just like taking that and finding like that's like what really like sets me apart from others and just trying to like progress myself as far as possible helps. Some challenges I faced in volleyball is just learning to deal with failure. I think it's really hard, especially in this specific sport, to learn how to deal with failures and overcome them and make you stronger. I started my recruiting process this summer going into my junior year, and that was on June 15th for everyone. So you get to start talking to coaches right then, get offers, and then a lot of people commit right away, and I committed within 3 days. But leading up to that, the year before, I was going to camps, going to clinics, touring schools, really figuring out like which schools were my best fit. So by the time June 15th came around, I already had an idea of the schools I really saw myself at. Yeah, I think every coach has an idea of what type of player they're looking for, not only playing style, but also personality-wise. And our coaches do a really good job of figuring out like what players will fit and groove together well. And I think that was a big factor in them seeing me as like a standout. And I toured their campus and I loved it at USC, and then I went to camp and I just totally saw myself there. And then everything about USC really stood out. Just, it was a great location, great academics, great student life, and I really was drawn to it. I think a common misconception with what coaches are looking for is just success, but they have a different eye for things. So they really like to look for how someone's interacting, whether it's like off the court with their parents or with their teammates or with their partner, or how hard they're going for balls, even if they don't get a point. If they're pursuing something like 100%, they'd rather have that than someone that's going half-heartedly and still being successful. In college, the game is definitely more physical, so learning to adjust with that, just as like everyone you're playing is much bigger and stronger, so just learning to adjust with who you're playing, and it's definitely helped me find my sense of identity when I'm playing, just being more aggressive as a person. I think in a younger level, in juniors, you're able to kind of get away with being less on the strong side, and then in college, everyone's lifting every day, everyone has that strength, and just figuring out what works for you is really important. So being a STEM major can definitely be challenging at times because it is a large time commitment with labs and classes and everything, but USC provides so many resources such as tutors, academic help, counseling, so it's really easy to kind of figure that stuff out if you're in need of help, and learning kind of how to manage your own time has really been a big learning curve for me this past year. I think just the workload and commitment you have to school as well as sport can be a lot very draining mentally. So it's really important to kind of figure out what works for you. So this past year, I feel like I was really easily impressionable. So I would kind of want to fit in and kind of roll with how everyone else is. And then reflecting back on my first year in college versus when I was in high school in a much smaller area where it was much easier to like be my true self, I think I definitely like lost that sense of identity being in college. So this year I'm really focused on trying to express that more, be the outgoing person that I used to be, and just really delving into that more. I think just a dream NIL opportunity would be a company that's well known and we would both mutually benefit. So something that would sponsor me, but I would also promote. So it's a big name brand such as like Nike or Skims or Oakley, just something like I use on the daily, I think would be an awesome opportunity. I think as NIL starts to grow more and more, people are going to become more picky with things. I think when it first started out, people were jumping on the first opportunities that were given to them. So if it was some random startup brand that was offering $50 to get 3 posts from a person, I think people were quick to jump on that. But now people are realizing that there's so many opportunities out there, and just like really deciding like which one really speaks and resonates with them, I think is starting to get more and more common. When I committed and then came back from college, it made me really realize how many people do look up to me and how much of a role model I have to be. And just for parents and kids that are aspiring to play in college, whether it's volleyball or something different, I definitely something that people like to look up to. The first thing I would tell my younger self is to not compare yourself to others, especially with recruiting and in this sport. It's super easy to look at others and say, oh, she's going to this school or she won this tournament, and it really is just hurtful to yourself and does nothing but hurt you and slow down your process as a person, because everyone's constantly growing. Like being a sophomore in college, I still have so much room to grow, and I know that now, but growing up, I didn't realize that, and I thought I was already plateauing, and looking at others, it was definitely really challenging. Hi, I'm Macy Bolyard. I go to USC and I play beach volleyball.